Representative Ilhan Omar was attacked last night during her town hall event in Minneapolis. Right after Omar called for Kristi Noem to resign, as you can see in this video, a man carrying a syringe got up from his seat at the front of the room, charged toward her, and sprayed an unknown brownish substance on her before being apprehended by security. Look, it's awful, and I remember when it first broke, I was terrified that it might be acid or something, that would cause real harm to her. It doesn't appear that that was the case. We still don't know what the substance was. No one should be met with violence like this, period. Violence at all, period. But this is what we're dealing with. So the only thing worse than the actual attack might be Donald Trump's absolute vile response to the attack itself. He could be a leader. He could say this is wrong. We need to tone things down. We don't want political violence, but that's not what he did because he's not a leader. He just likes to pretend to be one. So before we get to that, here's footage from two different angles showing what happened. I think it's important for you to really get an accurate visual of the event. So let's take a look.
Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Okay, look, before we get to Trump and all the terrible stuff that happens to be part of this story, I just want to take a moment to savor one thing that I appreciated. I appreciated the fact that she didn't flinch, she didn't cower, she put her fists up, she was ready to fight, and vibes. Anyway, with that in mind, you can see from that video that she didn't cower at all. And that's strength and courage. Much like after Trump, the first assassination attack against Trump, right? When he stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. People were inspired by that. So kill me if you want. I love the fact that she wasn't afraid. And I love the fact that she refused to end the town hall. She's like, no, we're not going to end this. So after the man was apprehended, Omar demanded that the town hall continue like a real leader, despite her team, by the way, asking her to stop. So she shouted, quote, "We will continue. These effing a-holes are not going to get away with this crap." She used a different word. I don't want to be difficult for the editors, so I'll just say crap instead. So luckily she was uninjured. And when the town hall was completed, she remained defiant in her comments to reporters. And I love that. So let's take a look at what she had to say.
Representative Omar, are you okay?
I'm gonna go figure if I am, but I feel okay. I feel that it is important for people, whether they are in elected office or not, to allow these people to intimidate us, to make us not fight for our constituents and for the country we love. And as I said, I've survived war, and I'm definitely going to survive intimidation and whatever these people think they can throw at me, because I'm built that way.
Thank you.
I mean, remember, Ilhan Omar is a refugee from Somalia, a country that we've been bombing since the 1990s. So when you think about what she must have gone through, you can kind of understand how strong-willed she is and how it probably takes more than, a tubby guy with a syringe to scare her. Now, who is that tubby guy? Well, 55-year-old Anthony Kasparian was immediately arrested and booked into the Hennepin County Jail on suspicion of third-degree assault. So looks like a real winner. According to Anthony's neighbor, a gentleman by the name of Brian Kelly, he had sent a cryptic text earlier that day saying that he might get arrested at an event. Additionally, Kelly described him, who shared photos supporting President Donald Trump on Facebook, as a pretty conservative guy who doesn't like Omar. So look, there are all sorts of politicians I don't like. I know that it would be stupid to carry out acts of violence against them. Beyond stupid, it's obviously also immoral. And like, you have to have a screw missing or more if you think it's a good idea to do what he did. It's just so dumb. Okay, you don't like Ilhan Omar. I get it. But you live in a country that has a democratic process. The person you didn't like got elected. You know who I can't stand? I can't stand Gavin Newsom. I mean, people get mad at me every time I mention it because I'm supposed to be a good, loyal Democrat. I'm not. I judge politicians based on the job they do, and he's been terrible. I would never cause any physical harm to him because that solves nothing. It only makes the country descend even further in like this hellscape of political violence that I would really like to pull us out of. Additionally, Kelly described, oh yeah, I read that already. So it's still not clear what that liquid was. Allegedly, there was a forensic squad called to the scene, and some of the town hall attendees say that it allegedly smelled like vinegar. I saw images of the syringe. Honestly, it looked like urine. But I could be wrong. I don't know. That's my speculation. The US Capitol Police are now investigating. And while some Republicans like Mike Lawler and Nancy Mace are luckily responding to this heinous attack appropriately by condemning it, the president of the United States is not. So he has been trashing Ilhan Omar publicly for months, which is fine. I don't really care, right? Like, that's what he does. But like, just try to be a human being after she's been attacked like this, but he just can't do it. So hours before the town hall, this is hours before the town hall. Here's what Trump was saying about her. Let's take a look.
They cannot come in unless they come in legally into our country, and we're letting some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar. Did you see what? Did you see that wise guy? You know, she's always talking about the Constitution provides me with the following. You know, the Constitution, she comes from a country that's a disaster. It's considered, I think, the worst. It's not even a country, okay? It barely has a government. I don't think it does. They go to one thing, pirates.
It's a real good look. By the way, we're pirates. How many oil tankers did the United States just steal? Like, what are you talking about? Okay, by the way, Somali pirates, yes, are a thing, okay? But like, you have no moral high ground. What are you talking about? And more importantly, don't talk about the Constitution in a mocking tone like that. You're the president of the United States. Anyway, that's what he said prior to Ilhan Omar, hours before she held her town hall. And afterward, meaning after she was attacked, he accused her of staging her own assault. Is that projection, Trump? Are you projecting something? ABC News correspondent Rachel Scott posted this on X. Just spoke to President Trump. I asked him if he had seen the video of Representative Omar being attacked and sprayed by a substance. Quote, no, I don't think about her. I think she's a fraud. I really don't think about that. She probably had herself sprayed, knowing her, the president said. I asked again if he had seen the video. I haven't seen it. No. I hope I don't have to bother. You're just talking about Ilhan Omar at an event earlier that day. I don't think about her. It seems like you think about her a lot. Anyway, look, I yearn for a day where we actually have leaders leading this country instead of children, I guess, reveling in the chaos that they create. But that did set off a firestorm of some pretty grotesque Republicans, unsurprisingly, like Matt Walsh and Ian Miles Chong, who isn't even an American. Who gives a what Ian Miles Chong has to say? Ian Miles Chong. He's not even an American citizen. Like, why is he injecting himself in what happens here in the United States? Like, he should be disregarded. He's useless and he doesn't matter. And I mean that. But anyway, they said some pretty gross things and decided to sling some allegations against Ilhan Omar. And of course, you have Laura Loomer, the absolute queen of victim propaganda on behalf of genocidal Israel, of course, chiming in to call others victims. So she says, nobody cares about your staged victim propaganda. You want to talk about the babies that Hamas didn't behead, but Israel claimed they did in order to make themselves victims? Anyway, I'll read the rest. Please go back to Somalia. Go to Israel. We don't want you here. You don't belong here. Get the fuck out of our country, bitch. We're gonna have to edit that out. Sorry, editors. Please go back to Somalia. We are getting really tired of people like you taking up space in our country. I'm gonna hold back. Anyway, political violence is wrong. It's wrong whether it's directed towards someone on the right or someone on the left. You accomplish approximately nothing by carrying out political violence. So don't do it. Now, in this case, it was carried out by someone on the left. So it's not like anyone watching this show would like root for political violence against Ilhan Omar. But I just want to put the general statement out there. Political violence is always wrong. It accomplishes nothing. And if you want to accomplish anything, you have to do it strategically. And you have to, I don't know, turn your brain on and think about how you can organize to accomplish what you want policy-wise or candidate-wise. Spraying someone with a syringe like the dope that we saw today, again, accomplishes nothing and will get you arrested. You know, you can catch a charge, as Pearl likes to say.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.